Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. But little did she know, this was only the beginning of a connection that would change everything. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. But little did she know, this was just the beginning of something much more life-changing than she could ever imagine. The next morning, Lily woke up feeling a little more awake than usual. It was funny how a simple conversation could make her feel like there was more to life than just getting by. She had hardly slept, but she wasn't as tired as she should have been. The memory of Nathan's kind smile and how easy it was to talk to him kept her thoughts occupied throughout the morning. As she got ready for work, she couldn't stop thinking about him. Who was he really? Why did he make her feel so at ease when she had barely known him for an hour? She shook her head as she buttoned up her jacket. She had no time to dwell on that today, she had to focus on getting through another shift at the diner. She arrived at work just in time for the lunch rush. The smell of sizzling bacon and the clatter of plates and cups filled the air. It was a familiar chaos she had grown used to, but today, it felt different. Today, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was changing, even if she couldn't put her finger on it. As she wiped down a table, her mind kept returning to Nathan and their brief conversation. Had he been sincere? Or was he just being polite? She glanced at her phone during a brief break, hoping to distract herself, but there was nothing from Jenny or anyone else. No message from Nathan. No sign that he was thinking about her either. At the end of her shift, she was exhausted, but it wasn't the kind of tired she was used to. Today, her exhaustion felt almost lighter. As she pulled on her coat and headed out of the diner, she glanced at the coffee shop across the street. Her heart skipped a beat. What if he was there? What if she ran into him again? She shook the thought from her mind. She had to stop daydreaming about things that weren't real. But as fate would have it, there he was. Nathan was sitting at the same table by the window, his laptop open in front of him. He wasn't working this time, though. He was staring out the window, a slight frown on his face, lost in thought. Lily froze for a moment, unsure of what to do. Was it too soon to approach him again? Should she just leave? But then, as if sensing her presence, Nathan looked up, his expression softening as soon as he saw her. "Lily," he said, his voice warm and welcoming. "Fancy seeing you here again." "I didn't expect to run into you," Lily said, laughing nervously as she took a step forward. I thought I'd grab a coffee before heading home." "Join me?" Nathan asked, motioning to the empty seat across from him. "I wasn't sure if I'd see you again." "Glad you stopped by." Lily hesitated for a moment. Her heart was racing, but she couldn't quite explain why. Maybe it was the unexpectedness of this encounter. Or maybe it was the way he was looking at her, like he was genuinely happy to see her. She took a deep breath and sat down, deciding to push aside any worries or doubts. They spoke for a while, this time about nothing in particular. Nathan shared a little more about his life, how he'd grown up in a small town and ended up in the tech world, how his job kept him busy, and how he'd been traveling so much lately that he barely had time for himself. Lily listened, intrigued. There was something so grounded about him, despite his successful career. She liked that about him. She liked the way he didn't try to impress her with his wealth or status. As the conversation continued, Nathan's tone grew softer, and Lily couldn't help but notice the way he was looking at her. "You know," he said after a brief pause, "I've been thinking a lot about our conversation yesterday." "Oh?" Lily asked, a little self-conscious. "What about it?" "I think we got off on the wrong foot," Nathan admitted, his voice hesitant. "I wasn't entirely honest with you." Lily's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" she asked, her mind racing. Nathan took a deep breath before continuing. "I wasn't just a guy working in tech. I'm Nathan Carter, CEO of Carter Enterprises." He paused, watching her reaction. "I should have told you sooner. But when I was sitting across from you, I didn't want you to see me just for my name or my company. I wanted to talk to you, to really talk to you, without any of that getting in the way." Lily stared at him for a moment, trying to process what he had just said. Nathan Carter? The CEO? The guy who had been so easy to talk to, the guy who had listened to her dreams without any judgment? The same man who had invited her to sit with him just because she'd accidentally grabbed his coffee. It didn't make sense. He didn't seem like the kind of person who would act so genuine. "You're the CEO?" Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. Nathan nodded slowly. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I wanted to keep things real, to get to know you without any of the expectations that come with my job. But I guess I didn't realize how much I was already falling for you." Lily's heart pounded in her chest. She felt a mix of surprise and something else, something she couldn't quite put into words. Her mind was racing, but the only thing she knew for sure was that everything had just changed. And just as quickly as it had begun, everything became a little more complicated. The real question was, could she trust her own feelings now that she knew who he really was? But Nathan didn't give her a chance to think too much. "I know this is a lot," he said gently, "but I just wanted you to know. I'd like to get to know you, Lily. For real." And just like that, she realized that life had a funny way of turning even the most unexpected mistakes into something that could change everything. But what would happen next? Would she trust Nathan? And more importantly, would she trust herself? After Nathan's confession, Lily sat there, stunned. Her coffee had long since gone cold, but she barely noticed. The words, CEO of Carter Enterprises, were echoing in her mind, bouncing off the walls of her thoughts. She had been talking to a millionaire this entire time. And yet, he hadn't come across as the arrogant, entitled person she had imagined CEOs to be. No, Nathan was different. He had listened to her dreams, shared his own, and made her feel like she mattered. But now, everything felt more complicated. Her feelings, her trust, it all felt tangled up in this new information. "I know this must be a shock," Nathan said, breaking the silence. "But I didn't want to hide who I am from you. I wanted to be real with you, Lily. I really enjoyed our conversation the other day." Lily finally looked up, meeting his gaze. There was sincerity there, but there was also a part of her that still couldn't shake the doubt. How could she trust someone so different from her own world? I don't know what to think, she admitted, her voice soft. This is a lot to take in. I've never really been around people like you, Nathan. People with so much power, so much money. Nathan gave her a small smile. I get it. I really do. You're probably thinking this is just some kind of game or something. That I'm just going to walk away once I've gotten bored. Lily bit her lip, her eyes avoiding his. I didn't say that. I just don't know if I can trust you. It's hard, Nathan. It's hard to believe that someone like you would really be interested in someone like me. Nathan's expression softened. He leaned forward slightly, his eyes never leaving hers. Look, Lily, I'm not asking you to forget everything you know. But I do want a chance. A real chance to get to know you. No more secrets. No more pretending. He paused, giving her a moment to process his words. I know I'm not like anyone you've met before, but I want to try. I'm willing to work for it, if you'll let me. For the first time since she sat down, Lily let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. She had to admit, his honesty made her feel something. Maybe it was too soon to know for sure, but there was a part of her that felt like this was something worth exploring. A connection that was real, despite the world that separated them. I need some time to think, Lily said, her voice quiet but resolute. This is a lot for me to process. Nathan nodded. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. They sat there for a few more moments, the quiet between them no longer awkward but comfortable. Nathan didn't pressure her for a decision. He simply respected her space, and that made Lily feel a little bit lighter. She had never been good at trusting people, especially men who had the world at their feet. But there was something about Nathan. Something that made her feel like he was being genuine. The next few days passed in a blur. Lily spent more time than she'd like to admit thinking about Nathan and what he had said. She didn't reach out to him immediately, partly because she was still processing everything, but also because she wasn't sure what she wanted. It wasn't that she didn't like him, she did. But the idea of opening up to someone who lived in a completely different world was terrifying. Would he understand her struggles? Would he look at her differently now that he knew she didn't come from money? It wasn't until a week later that Lily found herself back at the coffee shop. She hadn't meant to come here. She had planned to stop by the store and pick up a few things before heading home. But when she saw the cafe, she realized she couldn't avoid it any longer. She had to know if Nathan was really as genuine as he seemed. She had to know if he truly cared or if it was all just a game to him. As she walked in, her heart started to race. She wasn't sure what she expected to happen, but she didn't expect Nathan to be there. Sitting at the same table by the window, waiting for her. He looked up as she entered, his eyes lighting up when he saw her. Lily, he said with a smile. I'm glad you came. I had to come, she said, her voice soft but steady. I've been thinking about everything. And I think I'm ready to give this a chance. Nathan's face lit up, and for the first time, Lily saw a warmth in him that wasn't just about business or appearances. It was real. He was real. Thank you, Nathan said, his voice sincere. I won't let you down, Lily. I promise. And just like that, something inside her shifted. Maybe this wouldn't be easy, maybe it would be complicated, but it felt right. For the first time in a long time, Lily allowed herself to believe in the possibility of something more. A possibility that started with a simple mistake, a cup of coffee, and a man who was willing to take a chance on her. After that day, everything changed between them. Nathan and Lily spent more time together, meeting at the coffee shop or grabbing lunch when they could. It was slow at first, awkward, even, but the more they saw each other, the more comfortable they became. Nathan was patient, never rushing her, and Lily found herself slowly opening up. It wasn't easy, but with each passing day, she started to trust him more. They talked about everything, her dreams of starting an art studio, his experiences growing up in a small town, how they both dealt with their challenges, and how they both craved something more than what their lives had been up to that point. One afternoon, as they sat together at their usual table by the window, the conversation turned to their futures. Nathan looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "Lily, I've been thinking," he said quietly. "I know things have been moving fast between us, and I don't want to rush anything. But I need you to know something. I'm serious about us. I'm not just doing this because you're different from anyone I've met before. I'm doing this because I genuinely care about you." His words were soft but intense, and for the first time, Lily felt the weight of the sincerity in his voice. Lily paused, her heart racing. She hadn't expected him to say that. She had hoped for it, but hearing it out loud made everything feel more real, and it scared her. She looked down at her coffee, stirring it slowly as she tried to gather her thoughts. She was still scared, still unsure if she could trust him completely, but she knew that what they had wasn't like anything she had ever experienced before. It was raw. It was real. "I care about you too, Nathan," she said, her voice quieter than usual. "I'm just scared. I've never been in a situation like this. I don't know if I can let go of all my fears and doubts. You live in a world I don't understand. I come from a place where everything's a struggle, and I don't want to let you down." She looked up at him, her eyes filled with uncertainty. Nathan reached across the table, his hand gently resting on top of hers. "You won't let me down, Lily. I'm not asking you to change who you are. I'm asking for a chance. Just one chance to see where this can go. We don't have to have all the answers right now. I'm willing to take it slow, to let things unfold at their own pace." His thumb brushed over her knuckles, a simple but reassuring touch. Lily felt a warmth spread through her chest, but the doubts were still there, gnawing at her. What would happen when the world outside of their little bubble intervened? Could she really fit into his life, into his world of luxury and expectations? Would he still want her when he saw the full picture of her life, the struggles, the insecurities, the constant battle to stay afloat? But as she looked into his eyes, she knew that her fears didn't define her, and maybe, just maybe, they didn't need to define their relationship either. The next few days were filled with small moments of joy. Nathan took her to a local art gallery one Saturday afternoon, something she had always wanted to do but never had the time for. As they walked through the exhibit, Nathan asked her about her favorite pieces, listened to her explanations of the art with genuine interest. For the first time in a long time, Lily felt seen, appreciated, not for what she could do for him, but for who she was. It was a feeling she wasn't used to, and it scared her in the best possible way. But even in these moments, the reality of their situation started to creep in. Nathan's world was different from hers. He had business meetings, high-end events to attend, and a life that demanded a certain kind of attention. Lily, on the other hand, was still working at the diner, still struggling to make ends meet. She found herself caught between two worlds, the one she knew and the one that was slowly pulling her in. One evening, as they sat in Nathan's car, parked outside the gallery after the exhibit, Lily turned to him, her voice hesitant. "Nathan, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can be part of your world. I'm not like the women you're used to. I don't have the perfect clothes, the perfect job, the perfect life. I don't even know how to fit into your world." Nathan looked at her, his expression calm and steady. "You don't have to fit into my world, Lily. What matters is whether you want to be in it. This is about us, not our worlds. I've never met anyone like you, and that's why I care. Not because of where you come from, but because of who you are." He smiled gently, his hand reaching out to touch hers. "I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be yourself. And that's enough for me." For the first time, Lily felt like maybe, just maybe, this could work. Maybe she could let go of the fear and trust him. Maybe she could trust herself enough to take the leap. And as Nathan squeezed her hand, she realized that what she needed most wasn't perfection, but honesty, and the chance to build something real. And as the night sky stretched above them, filled with the quiet hum of the city, Lily felt like this was the beginning of something new. Something that didn't need to be perfect, but something that was hers. Something worth taking a chance on. As the days went by, Nathan and Lily's relationship continued to grow, and so did Lily's understanding of the man she was falling for. It wasn't just his wealth or the lifestyle that came with it, it was how he treated her. How he listened to her, respected her dreams, and made her feel like she was enough, just as she was. Yet, despite the warmth of their connection, there was a lingering doubt in Lily's heart. She knew she had to face the reality of their situation sooner or later. She couldn't keep pretending that everything was perfect just because they had chemistry. Nathan's world, no matter how much he tried to include her, was still so different from hers. One evening, as they sat on the rooftop of Nathan's apartment building, overlooking the twinkling lights of the city below, Lily found herself questioning everything. She had never been this close to someone like Nathan, someone who had everything she didn't. He was successful, confident, and, above all, he seemed to have everything under control. She, on the other hand, felt like she was always on the edge of falling apart. She tried to push the thought away, but it was impossible to ignore. Nathan deserved someone who fit into his world, someone who wasn't constantly questioning if she was good enough. "Nathan," Lily said, her voice trembling slightly, "I've been thinking a lot about us. About everything." Nathan looked over at her, his expression soft, knowing where this conversation was going. "I'm scared," Lily continued, taking a deep breath. "Scared that you'll realize that I'm not the right person for you. That I'm not enough. I don't know how to fit into your world. I don't know how to be what you need." Nathan reached over, gently taking her hand in his touch reassuring and steady. "Lily, you are enough," he said softly, his eyes meeting hers. "I don't need you to be perfect, and I don't need you to change who you are to fit into my world. I want you, just as you are. You're everything I've been looking for, and I don't want to lose that." But Lily shook her head, her eyes filled with uncertainty. "It's not that simple, Nathan. It's not just about what I want or what you want. It's about whether we can make this work in the long run. You live in a world where everything is planned, where everything is easy. You have resources, you have connections, and you have choices. I don't have any of that. I can't keep up with you. Her voice cracked, betraying the vulnerability she felt. Nathan squeezed her hand, leaning in a little closer. Lily, he said, his voice low and steady. I'm not asking you to keep up with me. I'm asking you to walk with me. Every step of the way. I'm not asking you to fit into my world, I'm asking you to be part of it, with everything you have. We don't need all the answers right now. We just need to be honest with each other. And I am, Lily. I'm being honest when I say that I want you. All of you. Lily's heart raced as she listened to his words. She had always struggled with feeling like she wasn't enough. But here was Nathan, telling her that she was exactly what he needed. The weight of her doubts began to lift, but the fear was still there, gnawing at her. She didn't know how to let go of the fear of not being good enough, of being left behind once she realized who she truly was. But Nathan's words offered her something she hadn't had in a long time, hope. The next few weeks were a turning point for them both. Lily started to open up more, sharing parts of herself that she had kept hidden for so long. She told Nathan about her childhood, about how hard it had been to lose her parents and take care of her younger brother. She shared her dreams of creating something meaningful, something that mattered. Nathan listened with a depth of understanding that left her speechless at times. He didn't judge her, didn't try to fix her problems. He just listened, offering quiet support. But there were moments when Lily still doubted. She would watch Nathan attend high-profile meetings, rubbing elbows with powerful people, and wonder if she would ever truly fit into his world. One night, as they sat in a fancy restaurant celebrating Nathan's latest business deal, Lily couldn't help but feel out of place. The servers were dressed in tuxedos, the room was filled with well-dressed, successful people, and she felt like an outsider, a fish out of water. Nathan noticed her discomfort and leaned in closer. You don't have to be anyone but yourself, Lily, he whispered, his voice reassuring. This world, these people, they don't matter. What matters is that you're here with me, and that's enough. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, especially not to me. In that moment, Lily realized something. She didn't need to fit into Nathan's world. She didn't need to be someone she wasn't. What mattered was their connection, their ability to understand and support each other. And that was enough. Nathan had never asked her to change, and maybe it was time for her to stop trying to change herself. As the night went on, Lily felt a shift within her. She wasn't afraid anymore. She was ready to take a chance on them, on him. Maybe the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but it would be theirs to walk together. As time passed, Lily began to feel more at home with Nathan, though the doubts still lingered in the back of her mind. She had started to embrace their relationship fully, accepting that it wasn't perfect, but it was real. Nathan continued to show her a side of life she had never imagined, and every day she learned something new about him, about herself, and about the life they could build together. He was kind, patient, and so unlike anyone she had met before. Yet, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't worthy of him, that she was still living in a world that didn't match his. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of Nathan's penthouse, the city lights twinkling below them, Nathan turned to her with a serious expression. Lily, he said, his voice calm but filled with intent, I've been thinking about us a lot lately. About what comes next. Lily felt her heart skip a beat, unsure of where this was heading. She had been so focused on just living in the moment with him, not thinking about the future, and now it seemed like he wanted to talk about exactly that. What do you mean? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. She couldn't help it. She had always been afraid of what the future would bring. Nathan reached out, taking her hand in his. I know this hasn't been easy, for either of us. But I've been thinking about how we can make this work, really work, long term. I don't want you to ever feel like you're not enough. I want you to know that I'm serious about you, Lily. I'm not looking for someone else. I'm looking for a life with you. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Her mind raced with a million thoughts, most of them doubts. She hadn't expected this. She hadn't expected him to say those words. For the first time, she was faced with the possibility of something permanent with Nathan, and the weight of it was overwhelming. Nathan, I don't know if I'm ready for that, she said quietly, looking down at their hands. I don't know if I can keep up with your life. I'm not like the women you're used to. I don't belong in your world. Nathan's grip on her hand tightened, not painfully, but with a firmness that made her look up. Lily, listen to me, he said, his voice steady. I'm not asking you to keep up with me. I'm asking you to walk beside me. We're in this together, and I want you with me. No more doubts. No more hesitation. Just you, me, and what we can build. The sincerity in his eyes left her speechless. She had never had someone fight for her like this. She had never had someone offer her a future that wasn't just a dream. Nathan wasn't asking her to change who she was, he was asking her to trust in what they had. And for the first time in a long time, Lily realized that she wanted to trust him. She wanted to believe that their love could be enough. But what if I'm not enough? Lily whispered, her voice breaking slightly. What if I can't give you what you need? Nathan shook his head, his expression soft but determined. Lily, you are more than enough. You are everything I've been looking for, and I'm not going anywhere. I don't need perfection. I need you. All of you. And if that's not enough for the world, then so be it. But it's more than enough for me. The weight of his words settled in her chest, and for the first time, she felt something inside her shift. The walls she had built around herself, the ones that kept her from truly trusting, began to crack. Maybe she didn't have all the answers, and maybe she didn't know what the future would hold. But for the first time, she realized that she didn't need to know everything. All she needed was to believe in what they had. To believe in him. And to believe in herself. That night, as they stood there on the balcony, the wind gently brushing against their skin, Lily made a decision. She wasn't going to let her fears control her anymore. She wasn't going to run away from the possibility of something real. She was going to take the leap. Okay, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Okay, I'll try. I'll try to trust us. And I'll try to trust myself. Nathan's face lit up with a smile so bright that it made her heart flutter. That's all I've ever wanted to hear, he said, pulling her closer. And in that moment, Lily realized that it wasn't about being perfect or fitting into a world that wasn't hers. It was about finding someone who made her feel like she was enough, just as she was. And with Nathan, she was enough. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, Lily knew that the road ahead wouldn't always be easy. But she also knew that with Nathan by her side, she was ready to face whatever came next. Together. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing day, Lily found herself growing more comfortable in Nathan's world. She still had moments of doubt, moments where the difference in their lives felt too vast to ignore. But Nathan never wavered. He kept showing her how much she meant to him, small gestures, words of reassurance, and, most importantly, his actions. He never pushed her into his world. Instead, he made her feel like she belonged, exactly as she was. Still, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that their relationship was about to face a major test. She wasn't naive, she knew their connection, as strong as it was, had its challenges. She couldn't keep pretending everything was perfect. One evening, as they sat in a quiet park near Nathan's apartment, the mood shifted. Nathan seemed distracted, his usual calm demeanor replaced by something else, something Lily couldn't quite place. It made her uneasy. She had noticed him withdrawing a little lately, and the anxiety inside her started to grow. Was he pulling away from her? Was this the beginning of the end, like she had feared all along? "Nathan, what's going on?" Lily asked softly, watching him closely. "You've been acting distant lately. Is something wrong?" Nathan didn't meet her gaze at first, his eyes focused on the horizon. He took a deep breath before finally turning to face her, his expression conflicted. "I've been thinking a lot, Lily," he said, his voice tinged with concern. "About everything. About us." Lily's heart sank. The words, "about us," never came without complications. She was bracing herself for something difficult, and the way Nathan was looking at her made her stomach twist with worry. "Nathan, you're scaring me," Lily admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "What are you trying to say?" He took a moment before speaking again, his eyes full of uncertainty. "I don't want to hurt you, Lily. But I think it's time we talk about something. I've been offered a major opportunity, one that could change everything for me. A job offer that would take me to another city, possibly another country. It's a big step in my career, and I've been torn about what to do." Lily felt a chill run through her. The possibility of Nathan leaving was more than she could bear. She had grown so attached to him, to the life they were starting to build together. The thought of him leaving felt like a nightmare she hadn't allowed herself to think about. "So, you're leaving?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly, even though she tried to stay calm. Nathan hesitated, looking down at his hands before meeting her eyes again. "I don't want to leave, but this opportunity, it's everything I've worked for. But I also don't want to lose you, Lily. I don't want to walk away from us." Lily took a deep breath, trying to steady her emotions. This was the moment she had been dreading, the moment when their love, no matter how real it felt, had to face the harsh reality of their different lives. She loved him. She loved him more than she ever thought possible. But could she ask him to choose between his career and their relationship? Was it fair to even ask that of him? "I don't know what to say," Lily said, her voice barely audible. "I don't want to hold you back, Nathan. But I also don't know how to let you go. I thought we were on the same path, but now everything feels like it's falling apart." Nathan's expression softened, and he reached out to gently take her hand. "Lily, nothing is falling apart," he said, his voice firm but full of emotion. "We're just at a crossroads. I can't make this decision alone. I need to know what you want. Do you want to try and make this work, even if it means some changes? Or are we at the point where we need to go our separate ways?" Lily looked down at their joined hands, her mind racing. The thought of losing Nathan was unbearable, but she also knew that she couldn't stand in the way of his dreams. He had worked so hard for this, and who was she to ask him to give it all up? Yet, at the same time, the idea of moving on without him felt impossible. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The weight of the decision hung in the air, and Lily felt a lump form in her throat. Finally, she looked up, meeting Nathan's gaze with determination. "I want us to work, Nathan," she said, her voice steady now. "I don't know how, but I'm not ready to give up on us. I'm willing to make changes, to try something new, even if it means some sacrifices. But I need you to know that I'm in this. I don't want to lose you." Nathan's eyes softened, and a smile slowly spread across his face. "You don't have to lose me, Lily," he said, his voice full of relief. "I'm not going anywhere. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out together." And for the first time in a long while, Lily felt a sense of peace. It wasn't going to be easy, and there were still many obstacles ahead, but she knew they could face them together. No matter what the future held, they would build something real. Together. The weeks that followed were both challenging and rewarding. Nathan and Lily had made a decision, and they were committed to making it work. The opportunity Nathan had received was too big to ignore, but together, they had started to navigate the changes in their relationship. Nathan began traveling more frequently for work, but he always made time to be with Lily whenever he could. He would fly back to see her for long weekends, and during the weeks apart, they stayed connected through calls and texts. Every moment together felt precious, and every conversation seemed to bring them closer. However, despite their efforts to make it work, the distance between them began to take its toll. Lily couldn't help but feel the weight of their different worlds. While Nathan's career was thriving, she was still struggling with her own dreams, the ones that had been put on hold for so long. She had always dreamed of opening an art studio, but the reality of running a diner, paying bills, and managing everything else seemed to leave no room for her passion. One evening, after a long day at work, Lily sat in her small apartment, sketching in her notebook, trying to push the stress of the day out of her mind. She loved drawing, it was an escape for her, a way to feel free. But lately, she had found it harder and harder to find the time or the energy to focus on it. The weight of her responsibilities, combined with the uncertainty of her future with Nathan, left her feeling drained. As she put down her pencil and stared at the half-finished sketch, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Nathan, *, "I'll be in town for the weekend. Can't wait to see you." *, a small smile spread across her face as she read the message. She missed him more than she wanted to admit. No matter how much she tried to convince herself that she was okay on her own, she knew that Nathan had become an important part of her life. A part she didn't want to lose. The weekend arrived, and with it, Nathan. When he walked through her door, the tension in Lily's chest began to ease. He was there, and for the first time in a while, she felt like everything would be okay. They spent the weekend together, dinners out, walks in the park, and quiet moments at home. It was everything she needed. But even in the comfort of his presence, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was still off. She couldn't help but wonder if she was truly ready to step into his world, to be the partner he deserved. On their last evening together, as they sat on her couch, Lily found herself unable to keep the thoughts inside any longer. "Nathan, I've been thinking," she started, her voice hesitant. He looked at her, his eyes filled with concern. "I don't know if I can do this," she continued, her heart racing. "I don't know if I can be the person you need. You've given me so much, but I feel like I'm still stuck, like I'm not moving forward. I'm not where you are." Nathan reached for her hand, his touch warm and comforting. "Lily, you don't have to be where I am," he said softly. I don't need you to be perfect or to have everything figured out. I need you to be with me. That's all I'm asking for. We'll figure it out together. Lily looked at him, her eyes filled with uncertainty. But what if I'm holding you back? What if I can't give you what you need? Nathan shook his head, his expression firm but kind. Lily, I don't want you to change. I just want you. We don't need all the answers right now. We just need to keep moving forward, together. I've always known we'd face challenges, but I believe in us. I believe in you. His words were like a lifeline, pulling her back from the edge of her doubt. For the first time in a long time, Lily realized that she wasn't alone in this. She wasn't alone in her fear, in her dreams, or in her uncertainty. Nathan was there with her, every step of the way. That night, as they stood on the balcony, the city lights twinkling below, Lily made a decision. She wasn't going to let her fears hold her back anymore. She wasn't going to let the distance between their worlds stop her from taking a chance on love, on herself, and on a future with Nathan. She was ready to take that step. Ready to trust in him, in them, and in what they could build together. As Nathan wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close, Lily whispered, "I'm ready, Nathan. I'm ready to try. For us." Weeks passed, and the bond between Nathan and Lily continued to grow stronger, despite the challenges they faced. Nathan's job required him to travel frequently, and Lily was still working hard to keep the diner running, but they made it work. Every time they were together, it felt like they were picking up right where they left off, and the love they shared seemed to deepen with each moment. The distance, though difficult, was something they had learned to manage, knowing that the time they spent together was what mattered most. Lily had started to follow her own dreams again, slowly building the confidence to start working on her art studio. Nathan supported her every step of the way, helping her with the logistics, even offering to help fund the initial setup. But it wasn't just the business side of things that made her feel supported, it was his belief in her, his unwavering faith that she could achieve everything she had ever wanted. One evening, after Nathan had returned from a business trip, he took Lily out to dinner at a quiet restaurant. The evening was perfect, the air was crisp, and the soft glow of the candlelight between them seemed to make everything feel even more intimate. Nathan, usually reserved when it came to big conversations, seemed different tonight. As they finished their meal, he leaned back in his chair, his gaze soft but filled with determination. "Lily," Nathan said, his voice steady but filled with emotion, "we've been through a lot, haven't we? I think we both know that what we have is something rare. But there's something I've been wanting to say for a while now. I want to make this official, in every sense of the word. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Lily. I can't imagine my future without you in it." He paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. "So, I want to ask you, will you marry me?" He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box, opening it to reveal a beautiful ring. Lily's heart skipped a beat. The world around her seemed to fade away as she stared at the ring, and then at Nathan. She had always been afraid of commitment, afraid that she would never be enough for someone who had so much to offer. But in this moment, she realized that it wasn't about being enough for someone else. It was about being enough for herself, and knowing that this love, this connection, was worth everything. She looked up at Nathan, her eyes glistening with tears, and nodded. "Yes," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, Nathan, I will marry you." She could feel the weight of her fears lifting, replaced by a sense of peace she had never known before. Nathan's face lit up with a smile that took her breath away. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and as he did, he leaned in and kissed her softly, sealing the promise they had made to each other. In that moment, everything felt perfect, as if time itself had stopped to honor the love they had found. From that day forward, their lives continued to evolve together. Nathan's career took off, and Lily's art studio slowly became a reality. They learned how to balance their dreams with their love for each other, and they found a way to make their worlds collide without losing themselves in the process. They built a life together, not defined by what they lacked, but by what they had, a love that was strong enough to face any challenge, no matter how big or small. As they stood side by side, looking at the life they had created, Lily realized that sometimes, love isn't about finding someone who fits perfectly into your world. It's about finding someone who helps you create a world that is your own, a world where both people can thrive and grow together. And with Nathan, she had finally found that world.